Happy holidays, beauty superstar. I am glad that you're here. It's like I want to talk about something that's really important, especially as we move into a new year. And even if you're watching this at a different time, this is a topic that may be something that you want to grab hold of and see if you can do a little bit better, especially if you are a creative person like myself. So my name is Mickey Wright. I'm with beautysuperstars.com, and I'm a salon business coach and salon pricing strategist, and really help people to go from struggling to superstar by helping them gain the confidence to be able to raise their prices and charge what they're worth. I actually show people how to get out of that hustle mode and make more with doing less. So today's topic is all about planning. It's like, as I mentioned, we are heading into 2022 as I shoot this. And one of the sayings that's, super famous is if you don't if you fail to plan, that you plan to fail. And is what's going to happen if you don't make a plan. But one of my challenges along the way is who really tells you how to plan? I actually grew up, I'd see my mom, kind of write down things in a notebook, and I am pretty famous for that myself. And it does help to kind of lay out things and put things down. But it wasn't until I took a course, maybe about 5 or 10 years ago, with someone who's really good at planning. It was called Six Figure Habits. And Claire Luffman is the person who taught it, and she was fabulous. And she really laid out how you plan. And I was like, wow. And so I just wanted to share a few things with you today. So one is to keep the end in mind, or start with the end in mind. It's like Stephen Covey wrote the book, 7 Habits to Highly Effective People. And that is one of the seven steps. Start with the end in mind. And so there's another saying, I'm full of sayings today, but there's another saying that says, it's like, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. So a lot of times we're making plans, we're writing things down, we've got our to-dos and all that good stuff, but are they taking us to where we want to go? That's a whole nother question. And another piece to that puzzle, and I found myself here before, where I'm finding my ladder. I've been climbing this ladder, climbing the ladder of success or what have you. But when I get to the top and start to look across the forest, I'm like, uh-oh, my ladder is leaning against the wrong tree. And so I want to give you a few things that may help you to avoid that, so that you are clear on where you're going, clear on why you're going, and the steps that you need to take to get there. And so one of the things that I have found along the way is something called 1 must and 3 most important. And so I think shared, to identify your 1 must for the day. And one of the things that does is take the stress out of, oh my God, I didn't get everything on my list done. So if I identify what my 1 must is for that day and I accomplish that, check that off, I have had a good day. And I'm not going to beat myself up and say I should have done 80 other things that I wanted to do, but I may not have had time to do, or may not have been able to physically do all of the things that I wanted to do. So that 1 must is really important. What is the one thing, if you start your day and you get an hour into your day and you get some kind of crazy call that takes you completely off center, what is that one thing that you really want to get done this day in order to keep everything moving forward? So you're going to identify that. And then after that, what are the 3 most important things for that day? And that's in addition to the 1 must. So there's 1 must and 3 most important. And with the 3 most important, and it's like, you may even just want to put down, I've got 4 things I want to do, and then identify which one is the 1 must. And you've got those other 3. So you can keep going down the road, keep checking those things off. And so I thought that was great to have that identified for each day. And till I started working on my days, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, I don't really know what's most important for me to do today, because I'm not really clear on what's most important for the week. And so it led me to create this sheet that I use, and I will share with you as a gift. And it has the week. So I identify for the week, what's the most important thing that I need to get done this week? And then what are the 3 the one must, and then the three most important things that I need to get done for the week. So I identify that. And then I can look at my days and it's like, okay, well, if I do this on this day, then that will help me get toward that goal. But I realized when I was working on the week that I had challenges because I didn't know what was going on for the month. So what is it important for me to work on based on what I want to achieve for the rest of the month? And so I've added that to the sheet. And so I identify what's the most important thing for me to accomplish this month in order to move things forward, and what are the three most important things behind that. So the one must and the three most important things for the month is identified. And of course, when I started looking at that, it's like, well, what do I want to accomplish this year? And so, especially because we are at the top of the year, it's a great time for you to go through and do that exercise, especially for the year, because it's like looking at kind of a broader picture of what it is that you want to accomplish for the year can be really, really helpful. So that you're not just, meandering around or getting caught in the next shiny object. It's like, ooh, this looks really good. I think I'll do that. But we're actually moving toward our goal. And so I identify what's the one must for this coming year and what are the three most important things with that. And so all of that's identified. And so I really start my weekly planning from the end going to the week and going to the day. So I start with my year, and I do this on paper. You obviously can do it on, on your tablet, computer, phone, or what have you. But I do it on paper because I really like to stay in touch with, remember when I said my ladder was leaning on the wrong tree? It's like every week I check in with myself and say, is this, the one must thing that I must achieve this year or must for my year to be and feel complete or successful? And if it's no, then it's like I look maybe at the other things and say, well, what is most important now? So I'm really staying in touch with where I'm going and why I'm going there. And in addition, with the, identifying the one must, of course, the goal is to kind of check that off if it's something that's check offable. And so if I check it off, then I obviously have to replace it. So it's like, I want to stay in touch with, what is that most important thing? And I'd say one of the things that's on my list would be relationship. And that's not going to be something that gets completely checked off because I want to make sure that I'm spending time, that we're giving, having quality time, having time period, and that I'm making sure that that is one of the important things in my year, my month, my week, my day. And so that is something that won't get checked off, but I have to keep making sure that, am I spending time? Am I really making sure that these things that I've said are important are showing up in my life on a daily, weekly, monthly basis as important? So that's the number one thing, is starting with the end in mind and starting from the year, going to the month, going to the week, and then starting to lay out the days. And I find it gets so much simpler when I do it that way rather than the other way around. So I hope that's helpful for you. And the next thing, just take a look at my notes here, is planning takes some time. And that was a surprise to me when I took that course, that Six-Figure Habits course. Was like, wow, this really takes some time to sit down, to think, to look ahead and say, oh, well, what's going to be going on then? And really lay things out takes some time. And you have to schedule that time or you won't have time to plan. And when we don't have time to plan, we actually spend way more time in the doing stuff that doesn't even matter and taking too long, and we haven't thought it through. And then we realize, oh, I didn't really need to do that at all. And so that can be like the biggest waste of time, is doing things that seemed like they were important, but they really didn't matter in the scheme of things. And so really taking time to schedule. So it's like right now I have scheduled my quarterly meetings with myself to plan out my next quarters. And that is on my calendar, so I can know that, this is my day for the planning, and knowing that that's going to happen. And even scheduling some time each week, whether that's Sunday, on an afternoon, whether it's Thursday or Friday of the week before, getting the week ready for this week. That is a really good habit to do that. So I hope that one is helpful as well. That's the number two thing. It's like, it takes time and you have to schedule it in order to make it work, but it saves you so much time on the other end that it's crazy. And so the other thing I would like to share, the third thing is finding the right tools that work for you. And there are a lot of tools, and I use actually quite a few. So one is I do have old school paper. It's like I have a paper planner. It's called Planner Pad is what I use. I've used it for many, many years, and they come with they do an imprint with the date on it, and they used to put your name on it. But this year they've gone on to Amazon, and so they no longer do the personalization with your name, but I've got my brand new, you can see how weathered my my last one was, but brand new for 2022, my planner pad. And so I can leave a link there if you're interested in getting it. It's like it came really quick. It's like I love this thing. And so I do still like paper because I like writing things down. And they have a unique funnel system, which is pretty cool as well. But I sometimes stick papers that might be important for the week, and even that weekly planning guide that I do. That tool I can put in the planner. I can stick in the inside and have it available and handy. And so with this, it's like I'll show you my new one because it's a little probably easier for you to see. And I'm going to show you that other tool as well. But each month it has a big monthly planning section. It has room for notes so I can say, if I'm thinking about something I want to do in March, I can jot it down in March and know when I get to March that those notes are already there. And so each day, or each week rather, starts with 3 parts, and it has a top part where you can categorize, you can create your own category. So I usually have something for groceries. I have this week where I can jot things ahead. Or as I think of them as I go. It might be, there's a section for calls, and then you can start to bring them down to what day of the week do you actually want to work on them. And sometimes I utilize that. And sometimes if I know, like I've got a doctor's appointment, it's like I'll put that on. And the bottom part is for actually scheduling it, actually putting the appointments down. So it's like I really like the way this is set up. Sometimes I use it better than others, but it's like it has served me well. I've gone away from it a couple times and I always come back. So I've got probably a minimum of 10 years plus of these volumes that have been a great resource for me. But I've always been a big proponent of online. It's like even when I had my salon in the 90s, and it's like you may probably don't know, but you may or may not know, but it's like I actually originally was a computer science major before I fell into cosmetology. And so I do appreciate online tools. I like, I have my phone with me like everyone else all the time. And so there are a few tools on there that I'll share with you. And I think it's just important to find something that works for your personality, or a combination of things that work for your personality. So app wise, the one I kind of like the most right now, and it does vary. Sometimes I use things like, bam, bam, bam on it. And sometimes I kind of fall off the wagon and have to get back on. So, but Todoist, it's Todoist. That one is a great app because you can kind of organize by projects, you can organize by people, if you have assistants or if you have other folks that are working with you or helping you with certain things. It's like you can put times in. It's like, it's really cool. It's like, I really like the way that it's set up, and you can sort them by today. You can sort it by upcoming. You can sort it by however you want to sort it, which makes it really cool. Like, on your paper, it's on that particular page. On here, it's like you can see, what's overdue, what's coming up, and be able to really move, manipulate, check off, have things that repeat. And it's like there's a lot of pluses for it. So it's like I really like that. Another tool I use is Trello. And that's T as in Tom, Rello. And that both, I think Todoist is free, but they have a limitation on it. And so I went ahead and got the paid version. I think it's like $4, $5 a month, something like that. So it's not too expensive. Trello has a free version, and of course, I'm sure they have a paid version, but I think I stick with their free version. But you can set up kind of big categories, and they have what they call like cards. And so you can set up, like your projects or what have you within your projects, and you can move them all around, which is really cool. So you can really see what's going on with any particular item. And of course it does have, like you can check it off and that type of thing. So it's like, I do like kind of that check off kind of thing. But it's like I can keep all the types of information, and that's really what I use this for a lot is, if I need to access a link really quick, I'll have it set up so I can just go right to it and it'll be right there. And, it's like if I have people that I need to follow up with, it's a great tool for that. There's so many different ways that you can use a lot of these tools. So it's like you really can customize it to what you are, what works for you, how it works to set it up and how it works to use it as well. And so I think that should give you at least a good start with getting started with your organizing, with your planning, and really making, 2022 or whenever you're watching this, it's like today is like the best day to start. I guess they say yesterday was the best day to start, but today is what we have. So it's like wherever you are, whenever you're watching this, I hope that there's something here that like grabs you and says, it's like, oh, I can do that. And so drop it below, let me know in your comments with what stands out to you and what is a tool that you can actually use moving forward. So just to kind of wrap up here, I went through three things, and the three things are, start with the end in mind. So it's like, as you're doing your planning, it's like you need to look ahead and then start to work your way back. What do I need to do today to meet that goal that I have for a year from now? And identifying the one must and the three most important for your year, for your week, for your month, for your day. And I'm going to have the tool that I utilize down below. It's like, let's see if I can share this with you really quickly so you can have an idea of how it looks, because it has helped me quite a bit. And I've shared it with many of the people that I've coached with, and they have also said, yes, we love this. It's like, this has really been helpful. And so it's created by a creative person. That would be me. And so on one side, it has all the days of the week listed with, Sunday, one must, and the three most important, going all the way through, and it goes through to the next Sunday. So you actually can kind of do that little bit of plan for next week and get that, make sure you're not missing anything. And so on the other side, which you can print these out as 2 sheets, or you can print them out as back to back, which is usually what I'll do, is print them back to back. And so for the week of, yeah, that's a little better. For the week of, and you put the date on there. And like I said, I usually work it backwards. So for the year of 2022, what's my one must? What are my three most important things? And it takes a little time to think that through. And so if I'm going to achieve the goal that I put for the one must, what do I need to do this month to make sure that that happens? What needs to get accomplished as the one must? And what are the three most important that may correlate to the top one must, or it may correlate to all three, or just one or two, something that you want to focus on right now, because just because it's an important thing for the year doesn't mean that it is an important thing for you to focus on this month. So that you can identify all at that time. And then once we've identified, okay, this is what we need to focus on most importantly this month, our one must and our most important things, then we can say, okay, so if I'm going to accomplish that this month, and we've got 4 weeks this month, what do I need to do this week to make that happen? And then I go back to these pages and start to fill in. And I know if I have people that I'm coaching with, if I have a doctor's appointment, if I have something that's kind of set in stone, it's like I'll definitely put that in as one of these 4 spaces for that particular day. So I'll know that that has to get done, has to get taken care of. So it's like, I think that should help you. So congratulations on making it through 2021. It's like, it's been an interesting year to say the least for most of us. So I pray that you are well, that you and your family are staying healthy and ready to prosper in 2022. So thanks again. This has been Mickey Wright with beautysuperstars.com. And I will leave the link for the guide so that you can access that, but you can always visit beautysuperstars.com and join our list. And I'll make sure that you get that as well, but look below and I'll leave the links for the things that I discussed today. So thanks again and have a great week.